Alright, so while Kadeem is outside feeding the animals, I just want to do a small apothecary video. I need to get some stuff together for a market that we're going to try to do Friday. Just trying out some different stuff. I have some quart jars. I'm putting some of the Master Tonic in, and I can explain a little bit of how we do our Master Tonic, which is the same across the board for any Master Tonic you'll really take. And I'll go through a little bit of that. It's not hard to do. I can do a class on it if you all want. Just let me know. But we're just gonna start with putting some of the Master Tonic in some of those, and I want to do some tinctures that I had in mind for different people. And then I have some tea blends that I wanted to do also. This is important. I've been waiting to tincture this for a while because I want to have this for my pregnancy towards the end. I know this is really good for supporting the uterus and helping with having a less painful birth. So we'll get more into that. I have to do a little bit more research to find out exactly what all the qualities of spikenard has, but from what it's saying, if it makes birth a little easier and less painless, it's probably something like an anti-spasmodic kind of thing, where it just loosens the muscles and relaxes the body, which you really need in that time because you kind of tense up during birth. If you've ever had a baby, it is not the easiest thing to do, but very rewarding to have a child and to go through a birth process with no medicine. I was about to say little to no medicine. I had no medicine. I had an at-home birth, and I just want to be more prepared this time because, I mean, it didn't go terrible last time. I kind of freaked out a little bit, but I just want to be calm during the time and have something that kind of makes the birth process go a little easier. I think my muscles could have been more relaxed, because when I finally figured out how to relax and push properly, that helped me so much during the process to finally get them out. Again, that's another whole subject for another day. So let's read. All I have to do is fill these jars up into these half-pint jars, and these are the ones that we will be selling at the farmers market. All of these, just a half-pint, regular half-pint mason jar. So we have some of our apothecary stuff down here, and this is where I do most of my tinctures. Some of them still have things in them that I do need to strain one day. I can't do them all in one day because I need a lot of cheesecloths. But this is an herbal liniment. Liniments are used with like rubbing alcohol or with hazel, and you have to use it on the outside of your body. It's not to take internally. Just a FYI, if you ever need an herbal liniment, that is caution. All right, so I think we have 2 strained ones. This is what our Master Tonic looks like. It's almost like making a tincture, but it's infused. Your menstruum is going to be apple cider vinegar and honey. So that's the menstruum for this. You actually settle it in the apple cider vinegar, and because it's really strong, we sweeten ours with a little bit of honey so it doesn't just knock a person completely out. Nobody can take that straight. So that's one. So another one, and then I have more of them that need to be strained. Okay, so because I tend to make a mess of things, we have our little strainer funnel, and I'm gonna pour, these are the bigger things of Master Tonic that we have. I'm gonna pour it into this so we can transfer it into our half pints. So this is all we're doing. And I can show you, like I said, how. So what you basically would do is, we usually buy like a big thing of apple cider vinegar, and you get your main ingredients, which will be horseradish, ginger, turmeric, garlic, onion. If I'm missing something, like I said, I'll do another video on it. But those are your main ingredients in a, people call it fire cider or master tonic. I've always kind of been referred to as a master tonic as a kid. So those are your main ingredients. And usually you'll have the contents in the jar, but these are already strained out. And for us, you know, not everybody does this, I don't think, but after we strain ours out, then we add honey to it to kind of sweeten. So it's, because it's very strong with the horseradish, jalapenos, or whatever your choice of pepper is. Usually people add cayenne pepper. Cayenne has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties, so it's great for if you have cold or flus. And honey, as long as it's local to your region, is very supportive during, you know, the months where you having a cold and you just need some extra things to kind of soothe you, soothe your throat, soothe, you know, any type of like allergies and stuff like that. Honey is very good during that time, and even when the seasons are switching. So you want it kind of local from your area, so you get acclimated to the environment and the weather. But they settle in this apple cider vinegar solution for about, you can do 4 to 6 weeks. Sometimes I have stuff that goes a little longer. Like I said, I still have things that need to be strained out. So those are gonna settle a little longer. It's gonna make it a little bit more potent. But these usually last about a year or so. You can go a little over a year with these. And like I said, again, any type of flu, a lot of people during the season of, you know, pandemic situations, we would just drop it on their doorstep and it would knock a lot of stuff out. So it's very strong, it's very potent, and it's very good for a lot of different things. It's not something you can really overdose on, but in our master tonic also, we do add a lot more herbs to it. So I'll add things like ashwagandha, which is, you know, supportive to your system and stress and all of that thing, you know, all of those things that people kind of deal with. And golden seal, stuff like that, that is more potent, because usually people will take this when they have a cold, or like I said, we'll take it to people kind of knock a cold out. So I try to do different things that are really supportive to a system and can really knock a cold out, because that's mainly what our family use them for. But if you just need it for everyday maintenance, because like I said, we're in a season where it's kind of like pandemic and stuff, and there's a lot going on in the environment, this is really good to take for everyday maintenance. Just take a tablespoon and some water. I've even you know, when you get that, you know, season where you feel like sickness coming on, I will take this and put it into some tea with some lemon and honey and just sip on it all day. It does taste kind of like an oniony broth, but it will definitely knock out whatever you have. You know, so after this is settled for 4 to 6 weeks, like I said, all you do, strain all the contents out. We actually saved ours and put it in a freezer bag, which I can show you, and made a broth out of it. So our last batch of broth that we literally just made the other day is the master tonic into a chicken broth. So I roasted some chicken the other day, and we just left the bones and stuff like that. It was a whole chicken, and from whatever was left over, we kind of just dumped in a little bit more herbs to it. And I cannot open this, you guys. And the scraps from the master tonic. Oh, there it goes. Sheesh. That was ridiculous. Okay, and the contents from the master tonic, and we just made it into a really healing herbal chicken broth. So like I said, certain things that we put in ours, nettle, burdock root, red raspberry leaf. What else did we use? Thyme. Thyme is really good for soothing the throat and stuff during cold and flu season. We put oranges in ours. That gave it a really good, like this batch has oranges in it, and it gives it a really good like flavor, but you get that kind of kick of vitamin C in there. So it's just a strong tonic that you want to keep on hand for anything. Even everyday, just immune boost, you can take it. And like I said, I would make it into a tea if I felt something coming on, and kind of drink on it all day. You take probably 2 or 3 tablespoons and put it into some warm water, put a little lemon, put a little honey, sip on it. That it makes for a good, pretty tasty tea, I would say. It's like drinking, I wouldn't say chicken broth, but almost like a herbal broth. 5 pints we're gonna sell of Master Tonic, and these are $10. We had dropper bottles, but we thought that was kind of, you know, it's not enough. Especially, like I said, if you have cold and flu, like you need a good amount of this to kick it out, or people that just want to use it every day. And we're gonna make larger amounts once we see, you know, it's a demand for it. So we'll start with these half pints, and these are 10. That's a good bit for 10, a half pint of it, and just go up from there. So like I said, we'll do a more in-depth class, but I'm going to show you the Master Tonic that's still steeping, so you can kind of see all of the contents that are in there and what that will look like. And then I can show you how we just, after we strained it, we just froze the contents for the Master Tonic, and you can use it to make a herbal chicken broth. So 1 second. All right, so when you're soaking your contents, this is how your Master Tonic should look. Again, this is just in the apple cider vinegar. This doesn't have the honey or anything in it. And some of the things I can see now is like, this is a large piece of like a burdock root. I can usually find the burdock root in our area at the farmer's market. I put some pieces of the oranges in here. We have parsley, ginger, red clover is an excellent blood cleanser, onion, jalapeno, some slices of turmeric, and let's see, thyme, garlic, all of the things that you would put into like a really good broth. Put into your Master Tonic, make a really strong infusion like this. And see, we did this on the 20th, so it's been steeping for a while. And like I said, some people steep it even longer. It lasts for a while. The apple cider vinegar is the preservative, and then if you add honey, which is also a preservative too, you have a pretty good shelf life. This does not really need to be refrigerated. You just keep it in a cool, dark place, and you should be able to have it for a good bit of time. Like I said, people say up to a year, but you can really have it a little bit longer, as long as, you know, it's in a cool, dark space. And always check it to see if it's any, you know, anything molding or anything arises from there. Never had that happen. So again, this is how it turns out after you add the honey to it and strain it. And then I can show you what the bag of herbs, which is just all of this strained out into a bag, and we just put it in the freezer. Okay, so this is our freezer bag of the Master Tonic. So after you either use a cheesecloth or a strainer to strain it, just keep the contents, because it shouldn't, I mean, it's just settled in apple cider vinegar, like I said, which is a preservative, so it's still fresh. And just add it to your broth, and make another, you know, product with it if you make it at home. And that'll really extend like the different things that you can use when you're sick. You'll have a healing broth. You can make a chicken noodle soup or whatever usual things you make with your broth. Just sip on the broth, and like I said, you can sip on some Master Tonic, make a tea out of it. But it's really healing to the gut, to the body, and just something kind of inexpensive in a sense to make, that would have something that you can last all year. And as long as kids are, I would say about 4 or 5 and up, they can probably take this too. Like I said, it's pretty strong, so you can add more or less honey. It's to your taste or to your needs, or certain peppers and stuff. Like I know people that use a little hotter pepper. If you can only use mild peppers like jalapeno, that's good. Use less horseradish, that kind of thing, to kind of balance out the flavors a little bit. But good immune system tonic. Okay, so for my pregnancy blend, red raspberry leaf is the best herb you can take for pregnancy, and for toning the uterus and making it a little easier to help relax the body for birth. It prepares the body, it prepares the uterus for birth. So it's an excellent tea. I can't go into detail of all the things that it does because my memory is shot, but you know, great tea, great herb. If you had to take just one herb for your pregnancy, raspberry leaf. About a cup a day. Some people are scared to use it on the front end of their first trimester. I safely would probably take it to the second trimester or third trimester, to start using it every day, taking about, you know, a cup of tea a day, or making a strong infusion. Even something like a strong infusion could be, it doesn't have to be a lot. If you do, I usually go by, and I got this, the quantities and stuff for another herbalist. It also fits for me because the power is in the person with the herb, not necessarily just the herb itself. So to your discretion, however you find, you know, the use of your infusion and the quantities, that's on you. I usually do about 1/4 of an herb to the rest liquid, water or whatever, you know, warm water. So if you feel this 1/4 of the way, you know, with raspberry leaf, and then the rest with warm water, you let it steep for about an hour. Some people go overnight if you want to make a really strong infusion, but you just sip on this all day, and that's an even stronger tea, I would say, to take during your pregnancy. And it's pretty potent. Teas and infusions can be just as potent, even more potent in some, you know, in some things, especially with, you know, having loose leaf herbs, than you taking, and just as strong as you taking a tincture or something in a like vinegar based tincture or glycerin tincture. So, you know, it's to what you can use, because I do the same thing, same quantity for when I make tinctures. I'll do 1/4 of an herb and probably the rest of it alcohol, and the alcohol varies in the potency. I have some alcohol that's 190 proof that I cut with water if I want a really strong infusion, like something with a root. And then I have stuff that, like for this raspberry leaf or something, if I was to make a tincture, which I have, just use 100 proof vodka because it's 50-50 water and alcohol, and you don't have to cut it with any water or anything, because that's the ratio for 100 proof, is 50% alcohol, 50% water. So again, for an infusion, 1/4 the way with the herb, and pour over boiling water. You don't need to boil any leaves, so you pour it over boiling water, let it steep for 1 to 2 hours or overnight. Strain it out and then drink it. Or like I said, for a tea, you probably need about 1 to 2 tablespoons of this every day in a cup. Cup will be good for a day and keep you healthy, keep your body ready to prepare for birth. So something else I use in my blend for myself when I make teas, or my husband really makes them, we keep them in a large quart thing. This is my blend right here. Only thing I don't have in here is the milky oats, and I'll talk about that in a second, but I'll be adding it to mine. This is alfalfa. Alfalfa gives you a lot of the minerals and nutrients that you need for a baby and for yourself. So a lot of times people and babies can be like magnesium deficient and that kind of thing. Those are the kinds of things that you can find in alfalfa and nettle. And that's why I use nettle also, because it keeps the body strong and healthy and give you all those vitamins and nutrients that you need to prepare for birth. Now with my milky oats, this is something I recently found about. and it's safe for babies. But I don't know if anybody's ever experienced this. I myself can experience this in waves during my pregnancy. It just depends on the stress and what's around my environment. But to have a healthy baby, to have a happy baby, I find that being in a less stressful environment is very, very important. So you want to be in the right mind frame when you're carrying and when you have a child, because your child can take on a lot of those like stressors that you deal with. And to keep a level head, milky oats is said to be a really good, you can do milky oats. I know they have oat straw. Not sure, like I said, I still studying, not sure what the difference is, but I know milky oats really support the body and the brain really well. Something in place of that too is Gotu Kola, said to be really good for the brain, and safe herbs for pregnancy. So something like that, just very minimum of it, just to give you that hormonal support when you're going through those times where the hormones are changing because of the baby, because of all the blood and all that stuff that's going into your baby. You need that nutrients for your mamas, for yourself, for every mama. You need that mental, mental relaxation and capacity to kind of deal with the birth, because it takes a lot out of a woman to have a baby during the birth processes. It takes a lot of energy and it can be very stressful. So this supports you, your brain, make sure you're relaxed and you have a less stress pregnancy. So let's start. The base of our tea is going to be raspberry leaf, and I have a bigger thing of it right here. I have a bowl right here. This is what I'm mixing it in. It's just a small quantity of it at a time. But I'm mostly going to use raspberry leaf. So most of it's going to be raspberry leaf. That was the rest of mine. Just going to grab some out of here. It's like a handful of it, because like I said, this is the base of the recipe, because this is the most important during your pregnancy. So next are going to be our target areas, which are the nutrients part of your birth, which are also very important, but you only need like I want to say a small quantity, but a little less than this. So I'll just do like a handful of these in here to make sure you have proper nutrients during your birth. And because we're using two different type of things for nutrients, which is the alfalfa and the nettle, that's why I only do a handful of them, because that should be a good amount to support you. Okay, and then for the cognitive function and for the brain, we're going to do milky oats. We're just going to do a little bit of these, just a few milky oats. Okay, that should be good. Okay, so let's just fill our cups. Or fill our half pint jars, I should say. There we have a nice pregnancy blend. All right, so we have our 3 jars. 3 jars of pregnancy. Okay, so there's 2 specific tinctures that I'm thinking about right now that I really need to make. One being diabetes. It does run in some parts of my family, and I've just been hearing about it more, and I kind of want to see what effect it has on the body, especially for my family members that are pre-diabetic. So what I have here is Ceylon cinnamon, which is supposed to be really good for regulating the blood sugar and kind of bringing your blood sugar down, especially for before or after you eat. It's like a regulator for the sugar levels in your body, and helping with building the insulin and stuff in your body. And bitter melon is supposed to be really good. People that have diabetes, because of the pancreas and different things that happen, like the secretion of juices and stuff, you want to have something that kind of creates more digestive juices for the body that can break, you know, the sugars down, because that's what the pancreas secretes, is a type of liquid that helps with digestion. So with bitters, kind of curbs that sweet craving, which causes a lot of people issues in their body, and creates more digestive juices for the body. So for our diabetic tincture, we have bitter melon and Ceylon cinnamon. So again, I do about a fourth of each herb, but my main herb in this will be bitter melon. So let's see. Okay, so this is almost about a fourth. Kind of mark it that it says like a 2 on here. So the rest of it, we're gonna fill up to that line of the cinnamon. And you wanna use Ceylon cinnamon because that's the more herbal cinnamon. Just about that much of cinnamon. So you want herbs in combination that work really well together. So this is how much we're gonna use. And then our menstruum that we're gonna use is 100 proof vodka, which is half water, half alcohol. And we're just gonna fill it to the top. Gonna give this a good shake. Okay, you don't want any like sediment if you're using, because these are powder herbs, you don't want any sediment. So just make sure you shake it, and you're gonna shake this every day for 6 to 8 weeks. And always label and date what day you started your herb and what the herb is. And your quantities too. I have a video so I can reference. It's not just for diabetes, like I said. The bitter melon and the cinnamon are good for regulating blood sugar levels and insulin in the body and all of that. And that can be in conjunction with a lot of different things, even high blood pressure or, you know, issues with digestion or something like that. A lot of people need bitters to kind of regulate their system. So it has very different, every herb has an action or intent that it does, but you can use it for several different things. This is just what I'm using it for right now. So that's why I just put the diabetes on there, just so I can remember why and what I made it for. And like I said, each day you just come in and you shake it to make sure your herbs are blending into this menstruum well, which is the vodka, 100 proof vodka. That's all you need. Doesn't need to be a super expensive vodka. I do use, I think this is grain vodka. Some people use ones that's not grain vodka. That's to your choice. But yes, shake this every day. When this is done and settled, you strain it out with a cheesecloth. You need a cheesecloth for this one just because it is powdered herb and it's going to be a little harder to strain. You might have some sediment, but put into another bottle and you have your tincture. This is my spikenard, which is, like I said, good for helping with pregnancy pain during birth. So when I get close to my due date, I will start taking this so I can have an easier and less painless birth. And I will probably put below what all spikenard does, because like I said, I don't quite remember. I did look it up, but I can't remember right now. So I'm gonna do the same. This is a root. I would use a stronger tincture, but because I am pregnant and I want to be cautious, I'm just gonna use 100 proof. So fill this up again, 1/4 of the way. Or for this one, I'm going to do a little bit more, probably halfway. So about halfway in the jar for this one. I'm going to fill it with our 100 proof vodka. So we filled it. Top one. Same with this one. You're going to shake it. Come in and shake it every day. Make sure it's well blended with your alcohol. And it goes the same amount of time, 6 to 8 weeks. Bark, so we're going to use turmeric for pain, and cramp bark. Cramp bark has the same effects as anti-spasmodic, anti-inflammatory properties. So this for pain can also be good for cramps. So if you're having painful menstruation or any type of pain, this is going to be our natural aspirin. We're going to use turmeric and cramp bark. And a little bit of cramp bark because this is going to be kind of strong. Okay. Try to do 1/4, but my ratios are off, you guys. So it's about half almost of a jar. And then we're gonna fill this with, lock my face up. Zoom in. Okay. Then we're gonna fill the rest with our 100 proof alcohol. There we have what we're gonna call our natural aspirin. Shake it again. This is also a lesson. If you don't have certain things in your house, just know what certain herbs do, and you can use them in conjunctions for other things. So I didn't have white willow bark, but I had white oak bark, that does something different. But knowing that turmeric is good for pain, and knowing that cramp bark is a pain reliever, knowing that cramp bark is really good for menstruation pain, and when you need to like ease those cramps that are going on. This will be our natural aspirin reliever, which is going to be turmeric and cramp bark. Okay, this is going to go for 6 to 8 weeks too. So we have our natural aspirin of turmeric and cramp bark. Something else you can use as a natural pain reliever, like I said, is white willow bark. That is a natural aspirin, so if you just have that, that's good. Or if you have turmeric, it's a good pain reliever too, so that works as well. Then for our diabetes, we have bitter melon and Ceylon cinnamon. If you have one or the other, I would probably go with the bitter melon first. And then, cinnamon is also good. Cayenne pepper is also good. So those are some good ones for diabetes. And regulating the blood sugar, keep circulation going, high blood pressure, all of that stuff. Spikenard is good for, it's anti-spasmodic also, so relaxes the muscles in the body and prepares for birth. So I use this a little bit before birth, just so our body and your muscles relax properly so you can ease out the baby. Those are our 3 tinctures for today.